Imagine the sunny Santa Monica Beach at the turn of the millennium. It's a quiet Saturday morning. The crowds haven't arrived yet. A rising sun is casting long shadows of palm trees across the sands. Something suddenly catches your eye. A butterfly impossibly large, scaling the clouds. As you focus on the object catching the sunrise, the iridescent creature looks almost alive, wings rushing this way and that, as if hunting for a giant sunflower somewhere in the red clouds. Slowly, it begins to dawn on you. This is a kite, and the man at the end of the string, holding this giant, beautiful piece of art, is an old man without a care in the world, but his face absolutely invested in this show in the sky. His name is Tyrus Wong, and his story is incredible. In the year 1920, a little 10-year-old boy and his father stepped off a steamship anchored at Angel Island, off the shore of San Francisco. Just 10 years prior to their arrival, an immigration station, similar to Ellis Island, rose out of the cold waters of the San Francisco Bay. In 1882, the United States passed a law restricting the importation of labor from China. But 24 years later, in 1906, all records of the Chinese burned away in the San Francisco fire, opening the floodgates for people using false papers to claim their place in American society. The little boy, Luk Tayal, spent a month shivering in the wintry and wet January fog of the San Francisco Bay on an island without his father, waiting for his own interview with immigration officials. Luk Tayal passed with flying colors. He traveled upstate to join his father, moving into Sacramento's Chinatown, and began to attend school, where his teacher gave him a new name, Tyrus Wong. Work dried up, so his father traveled down to Pasadena to work at a gambling den, and Tyrus moved in with his father 2 years later in a boarding house between a brothel and a butcher. However, one summer, a local art school offered him a scholarship, and after completing the program, Tyrus refused to return to Benjamin Franklin Jr. Middle School. So his father gathered the initial $90 tuition, or around $1,600 today, and Tyrus began working part-time after school as a janitor to pay the rest. His schooling transformed him. In 1932, he graduated and almost immediately became a darling of the critics. His paintings featured in many prestigious art galleries in Chicago, Los Angeles, and even in Paris for the 1937 exhibition. The dizziness of glamour must have dazed him, however, because in that same year he married Ruth Kim, an American-born Chinese Sunday school teacher who graduated with a degree in English from the University of California. And the need to be a provider landed him an entry-level job at Disney. For years, he worked on classic Disney projects as an in-betweener, the artist who completes the animation process. However, during work on Bambi, his work was personally recognized by Walt himself, who ordered the studio emulate Wong's style, making Wong an unofficial director. However, in 1941, a year before the film's release, a strike caused chaos at the studio, and they dismissed many workers, including the innocent Wong. After the war, Tyrus Wong's career took a turn, and not for the worse. He joined Warner Brothers and Republic Studios as a production illustrator, serving as inspiration for many classic American movies of the 40s, 50s, and 60s. In 1946, the United States granted him citizenship, one of the first Chinese immigrants to be given the privilege. In the same year, he also became a Hallmark artist. In 1950, Wong joined the trending throng of homebuyers in Los Angeles and was one of the first Chinese Americans to own property. Then, in 1952, he joined California Artists and produced upwards of 100 greeting cards for them each year until he retired in 1968. He became nationally known for his powerfully soft paintings, mixing the harshness of living with the joys of nature, the presence of family, and the power of a spirituality that defied the odds of mortality. He used an eclectic blend of Eastern and Western styles, producing images that haunted the national zeitgeist and turning the California Artists brand into an American powerhouse. Just 1 year after being praised as America's favorite Christmas card designer by Duncan McIntosh, he retired and began making kites. Then, in 1980, doctors diagnosed his wife Ruth with dementia, so he retired from art altogether to care for her. In 1995, after she passed, he returned to the craft of kites, spending every fourth Saturday on the Santa Monica beach gathering crowds to watch whatever new creation he spun out of his mind. In 2001, Disney finally recognized his work on Bambi and crowned him as a Disney legend. Then, in 2013, at the young age of 103, something miraculous happened. A painting was unearthed from the attic of an old church in San Francisco, an 80-inch canvas of Jesus walking through the clouds, red hair blowing in the wind, slanted eyes peering through the heavens. Was this the same painting Wong produced all those years ago in 1935, when he was seeking God's meaning for his life in the chaotic arena of the international art stage? So Tyrus did the unthinkable. At 103 years old, he trudged up the steep San Francisco streets to an old Chinese church on Washington Street, took one look at the painting, and confirmed yes, it was his. He had painted it for the Reverend Tso Tim Tam of the Chinese Congregational Church in Los Angeles, but after Tom left L.A., he brought the painting with him and displayed it proudly in the Chinese United Church in Chinatown, until eventually it wended its way to a dusty attic, where it remained for more than 75 years. 3 years later, on March 9, 2016, the painting found a new home in the Asian Art Museum, and Wong arrived to be greeted by the city supervisor, declaring that day to officially be Tyrus Wong Day. He signed the painting. And then, 9 months later, on the exact day he arrived in America, December 30th, Wong passed away. Tyrus never wanted nor appreciated fame. "I'm just a lucky artist," he would tell his daughter. "I just paint, depending on how I feel." Spoken by a true giant.